Hello, everyone, and welcome to the next session of From Nothing, Lorna's story. Now, the first thing that's going to happen after you've gone to sleep is I require a wisdom saving throw.
It's been a long day, I can imagine. Pretty good. 23.
Don't worry about it. You awaken early in the morning. Your wrist aches. You feel the ghost pain of the missing hand, as if you could move the fingers, but they're not there. And it hurts a lot.
Mm-hmm.
As you awaken, laying in bed, it's maybe 5:30 in the morning?
That's earlier than usual, yeah?
Yep. You were awakened by the pain in your wrist.
Ouch. Now, Tabernac did tell me that I could requisition. I don't remember if he said a certain number of health potions. 2, maybe? Let's go with 2. So I'm gonna do that. Hopefully the Sekka is available.
Well, you're not missing any health.
I thought he said it would help with the healing. Like, alright,
It
rather.
could, but it's... You can go to the blacksmith and see if she has healing potions that you can requisition.
At the very least, I could go to her and try to make like a makeshift dummy hand, just so not to draw attention until I get the fake one.
Okay.
It's just obviously not something functional, but something that would, and upon closer inspection, it would fall apart. But I just, if someone's glancing at me, they wouldn't be like, "Oh my God!" You see what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying.
A temporary fix.
Okay, so the first
For the
thing you're
less
doing this
observant.
morning is you're heading down to the blacksmith to talk to
Yeah.
Sekka.
Yeah. I'm sure she could have some advice for me on this.
As you are heading down to the blacksmith, you hear in your mind, Lorna, you are troubled.
Yes. You are correct.
Can
She
I
thinks back.
help?
Unless you, not to disparage your many amazing abilities, but unless you could help me grow back my hand. I think that's a solution for another day.
I cannot grow you a hand, but I could make the shape of one, I suppose.
You could. What do you mean?
Requiem, who's currently in like a snake belt form. I'm gonna roll.
Dude, that'd be so cool. Ghost hand. It's a
Requiem
new,
rolled a natural 19.
a new
Requiem,
meaning to the word phantom limb.
as you are wearing your Marigard garments, basically robes, they don't have a full sleeve. They stop basically just at the elbow.
Mm-hmm.
Requiem wraps himself in snake form around your left arm and forms his head into the shape of a hand.
What?
There is now a slightly ethereal, but it's as though you are wearing a veil over your arm, ending in a black, slightly see-through glove.
Wow. Can I try to close my fingers?
You try and will that to happen, and it doesn't.
Okay, Rick. Close.
The hand slowly closes into a fist.
Okay. This is not what I expected you to be able to do, but I am fucking impressed.
I am glad to be of aid.
Is there little ghost eyes on it?
When you turn your arm over and look, the knuckles are his eyes.
Oh my God. I love him so much. Okay, this will work. For now. I don't even have to go to Secca now.
You've, like, stepped out into the courtyard as that happened.
Oh, all right. Well, I guess I could get early breakfast. Yeah, fuck it, I'll do that. Oh, I got a long rest?
Yes.
Okay. Or, I wanted to have a conversation with Elise. But I didn't because the master was still here and still tailing me. Maybe... You know, I'm gonna try. I don't know what her sleep schedule is, but maybe she's in her classroom.
You go to the Warlock classroom at like 5:45 in the morning.
Yeah, who knows? Tabernacle's always in his classroom.
The door is locked.
Damn it. All right. Fair enough. I'll go to the breakfast room. The dining hall.
Okay. You go to the mess hall, where breakfast is just being served out onto the opening between the kitchen and the actual mess hall itself. Let me roll to see how the golems did. Roll a 6. Breakfast today is lots and lots of scrambled eggs, accompanied by assorted vegetables and beans. And then it looks like sliced potatoes that have been fried. You're not sure what sort of breakfast this is, but it tastes good. There is a spice that has a slight heat to it that's throughout everything.
Sriracha. Did I get 6 hit points out of that?
Yep, you did.
Awesome. Is there anybody I know up this early?
Roll me a D100.
$45.
Roll me a D10.
One.
As you're eating breakfast, suddenly you see coming into the room is the sight of a small brown-haired halfling who heads straight over toward the opening and gets her own breakfast. As Cowley Toothspring, when she turns around, she sees you and she says, "Oh, good morning."
Good morning.
I never see anybody in here this early.
I woke up early, I guess, so. And nobody else is awake.
She kind of halfling toddles over to your table and sits down across from you, and she says, "Well, how'd you sleep?"
I've had better nights, you know?
Well, I'm glad to see you're awake at least. I'd hate to have to come get you from your room if Tabernacle was upset that you were late.
You've never had to do that, and probably never will.
I've had to do it a couple times for Halliwell. Especially when he first started. He said he was always used to his servants getting him up.
Oh, I thought this was going to be a much more interesting conversation.
No.
No? Nothing?
She blinks at you. Are you expecting there to be some sort of affectation between me and that noble prick?
I just feel like there's, the tension is there.
No, not at all. I'm
right.
sorry. I hate to disappoint.
Insight check. Enemies to lovers. 16?
There is this general sort of irritation coming from Callie at the idea.
Okay, all right. I'll let it go. He made dinner the other night. It was actually quite good.
Kind of him to do something selfless.
Maybe he just really likes to cook.
Good for him. As she eats a large pile of scrambled eggs.
Maybe he made this.
Doubt it. He's still snoring away.
That's fair.
So, are you going to elaborate on that? And she points at your black hand.
How interested are you?
Well, I can see through it, so I am a little bit curious.
I'm trying out something new with Requiem. Which is true.
Here's a question. Why? Do you need to?
Why do we need anything these days,
You are terrible at evading a question.
Because I needed a hand. Get it?
What happened to your hand?
It's a really dumb story.
Did you get it
And
caught in the lumber mill?
uh I was doing a mission with Lilith and Tame, and I
I
took
don't know
part.
either of those names. Well, I
Oh,
do know
really?
Lilith. I've seen Lilith around, but I don't know
Yeah,
Tame.
yeah, yeah. I got it stuck in a trap, basically, is what happened. So,
So you lost your hand.
yep.
Well, don't do that again, I suppose.
Well, it's a lesson you only need to learn once, I think.
It looks like it. Unless you'd
Well,
rather have both missing.
not unless the replacement I get is. I mean, it's supposed to be really cool, so.
As you're talking about this, and your hand is kind of, you can see Requiem's eyes on the back. They
It's
just
so
blink.
cute.
Callie eats her breakfast, and she says, "Well, if you're missing a hand, and Tabernacle knows about it,
He does. He's helping me get a prosthetic.
I was about to ask, what does that mean? What are you going to be doing?"
Practice one-handed magic. It's about time I learned anyways.
It is useful.
Actually, you know what? I might as well practice right now. And I'm going
Not on me,
to
I hope.
nothing that you won't recover from.
I remind you, I'm an evocation specialist,
Uh-huh.
Lorna.
Which is why this will be very simple. She's gonna cast Mage Hand. Or try to.
Roll me a spellcasting check.
Okay.
A 17. You successfully cast Mage Hand.
Uh-huh.
The strange floating hand that is under your control appears in front of you. What do you have it do?
Is she wearing like a robe?
Yes, she's wearing the same sort of robes you are,
Is there a
but
hood on
smaller.
it?
Yes.
Okay, she'll pick up, grasp it by the back of the hood and just pull it over her head.
Very funny.
I told you you'd be fine.
Before you can truly react, she casts Prestidigitation, and the smell of coal and manure suddenly fills your nose.
That's not fair. I also want to learn that.
She flips the hood back and she says, "I did warn you."
That feels like a really disproportionate response to what I did.
That's evocation for you.
I don't. All right. Well, I see why it's your specialty.
Wouldn't do anything by half measure.
Except exist.
I will kill you.
You got to admit that was very clever,
No, I don't have to admit anything.
but you know it's true.
She squints her eyes at you and eats a mouthful of potatoes.
Maybe today I'll learn. I've actually really wanted to learn the prestidigitation cantrip. Maybe I'll
Well,
try
maybe.
tabernacle for
I'm
that.
not going to teach you.
Is it because I called you halfling?
Yes.
Isn't that not what you are?
It's not calling me a halfling. It's making fun of my height.
Come on, I'm sure you get it all the time.
You do look awful short for a half-elf.
Well, I'm half too. Half
Mhm.
something much shorter. I don't actually know what the other half is.
Perhaps you should look into that.
I've actually been trying. My family history is very complicated.
I'm sorry to hear that. Mine's very straightforward.
Yeah.
Farmers.
Oh shit. You're right, that is simple. Yeah, there's still a lot of things for me to figure out, so what I'm mixed with is one of them.
She kind of raises an eyebrow at you, and then she squints.
Hmm?
Well, you're certainly elf. But what's the other thing? Maybe... asshole. That's it.
Wow. All right. I thought you were actually going to give me like a real guess.
I can't
and
tell.
I've always just assumed it was human.
That's a safe assumption, but you are slight, so it might be something else.
How
Something
about a
naturally
real
shorter.
guess?
A real guess, Well, if it's not a human... perhaps something more exotic, like a triton. They're typically short.
Sure, but I've never felt myself pretty, like, inclined to water.
Well, you wouldn't, would you? Because the elven heritage would take over.
Is that how it works?
You're a wizard student too. Have you not looked into any of this?
No, I haven't really thought about it.
Well, perhaps you
least this part.
should. From what I know, it's the exotic races often get squelched by the more
Like
potent ones.
Okay. And
Like-
elf is more potent.
Elf, dwarf, tiefling, Aasimar. If any of those are in your heritage, they will almost always show up above anything else.
I didn't know that.
Orc also, quite dominant.
Not halfling.
Not really.
What if I was a halfling?
That's possible.
Maybe. Maybe we're closer related than we thought.
Slow your roll. I'm not very related with any other halflings aside from my family.
Okay.
And to be fair, most halflings don't generally assume they're familiar with any other halfling aside from those that they grew up with. There's lots of halflings in the world.
Actually, the woman who raised me is a halfling.
Oh?
Which is why I don't know. What
She wasn't a
heritage
toothspring, was she?
is. No. If I recall, her surname is Lancaster.
No, doesn't ring a bell. As I've said, there are quite a few halflings in the
Yeah,
world.
you don't know them all. That's fair. Her name was Fionn. She was like a mom to me.
It's a very westerly name.
I'm from the West.
Well, I suppose that makes sense now, doesn't it?
It's all coming together.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'll help you try and figure out who it is that is your heritage. Just because I'm curious as to why you're such a short half-elf.
I'll take whatever motivation you need, because that sounds like a fun project. Is there a spell we could do? Maybe some sort of divination.
None that I could do. Well, maybe one that Tabernacle could do, but none that I
Maybe
could.
we could research it.
That is a thing we do, isn't it?
That's not a bad idea. Maybe knowing would actually help answer some of my questions about my family. We go really far back, but there's a lot of gaps in my knowledge of the history.
Then let's find out.
Well, we gotta have to go to class anyways, don't we?
Yes. I do think perhaps Tabernacle will be a little bit annoyed if we don't follow what it is that he wants us to look, and instead are looking into heritage
Sure,
trees.
but maybe that's what he wants us to look into. We don't know. It could be
Callig
helpful.
raises an eyebrow. Your unbridled optimism is, well, a little foolish, but cute.
You're actually the second person who said that to me in like the span of a week.
Perhaps I'm right then, huh?
Maybe you're both just jerks.
Hey, do you think I'm a jerk?
No, I was kidding.
I guess I could be, if I needed to. Anyway, let's get to class. And a little earlier than usual, you head to Tabernacle's classroom. You have noticed that every time you've gone to Tabernacle's classroom, Callie has been there before you, and this kind of maybe answers that mystery a little.
Gets up early.
Yes, gets up very early.
Seems like a pretty straightforward answer to that mystery.
Yep, it does. As you enter Tabernacle's classroom, Hallowell comes in not long after.
He managed to get himself up.
He does seem to make it every once in a while. One moment.
Bless you.
Thank you.
Eve, shush.
As you all enter Tabernacle's classroom and kind of get yourselves prepared for the day, Tabernacle climbs the stairs in human form and he says, Before anything else, Lorna, if you could, please attend me down below in the talking room.
You kind of look like, I don't know what I did.
As he leads you down the stairs, he brings you toward the stage where there is a book left open, and you see it is a catalog.
Oh, I feel like I probably know what this is.
Yes, it is time to discuss your arcane prosthetic.
Right, but did you see this? And she's gonna hold up her hand quim.
That is new.
Is that not cool? I didn't know you could do that.
Is that your familiar?
It is. Look, and then she'll show him her pseudo knuckles where the little eyes are.
They blink. And Tabernac says, very versatile.
I really lucked out with an incorporeal familiar.
So it would seem. One that is intelligent enough to take a form aside from that of a creature that can help you.
I didn't even know that was possible.
If they are smart enough, they certainly can do whatever it is they like.
He's brilliant.
So it would appear. Well, we still need to acquire a prosthetic for purposes of handling.
Certainly, yeah. He only he doesn't feel my will as I will it. I have to tell him specifically to close my hand and things like that. So a prosthetic would be a much more suitable solution.
Right. So do you have any preferences as to appearance?
I thought maybe a sleek polished wood would be cool. Metal joints, of course. I don't want it to be more easily damageable if it's made of wood. Is that a problem?
No. It would not be a problem, I don't think. And you see he is making notes, and he says, please extend your wrist. And excuse me, Requiem.
She'll ask him to slither up her arm.
The hand form turns back into the snake head as it retracts up your arm. And Tabernac, in his human form, reaches out and deftly and quickly measures where your hand is cut off. He's very gentle about it. It doesn't hurt, but there is some discomfort as the nerves are still damaged and injured. As quickly as he begins, he's done, and he's making he's marking the measurements down, and he says, we can expect your prosthetic to be, well, it shouldn't take long for it to arrive once they've made it.
Think there's anything else I could add to it? Like a function beyond just
a
hand? For
gold, do you have any gold on your person that you can spend for bonuses?
The lady who did this, she gave me a couple gold to... It doesn't really matter why. I have 300 gold on me.
300 gold pieces. Yes, I imagine you could have the implementations of a lower-level spell infused into your arcane prosthetic.
Be really cool.
Well, then it is only a matter of you deciding which one you'd like.
Like a first-level spell? The second-level spell?
No, it would not be first. It would not be second.
Give me 1 second while I look at first-level spells.
There will also be an issue of some banacite being infused into your hand, which will alter its appearance slightly.
Sure. Like runes, markings?
I don't know. I've never made a prosthetic myself.
I'm not too concerned about it. If it's functional and it does something magical, then I don't care what it looks like. But
why don't you consider your books and decide what sort of spell you'd like infused in your hand?
Okay, absolutely.
I'm
doing that right now.
I was going to say do it now, whilst I'm waiting here and filling the order.
Don't worry about it. I'm doing it right now. Mage armor would be useful. Because right now my armor class is a 10.
Mage armor would be helpful.
That might be the best one, honestly. You know what? That's what I'm gonna do. Yeah, mage armor.
Mage armor. Very well. I will fulfill that requisition. Let me see. They will require half payment up front. Let me check their catalog. And Tabernacle is like looking through it, and he says, "It looks as though I will require 100 gold from you now in order to begin the order."
Here you go, and she'll hand it over. Awkwardly, as she kind of like digs with her good hand into her pouch.
Requiem, you may resume your position as a hand, I suppose. And Requiem doesn't move.
Go ahead, Rec.
Requiem crawls back down your wrist and forms the hand again.
That's so freaking cool.
It is nice to be able to see a little better from out here.
Right. I'll take that into consideration when I have to wear you about more subtly. Maybe you could be like a moth. I don't know. I'll workshop it.
I don't think I could get that small.
Really? You have a size restriction?
I don't know.
Okay.
All of...
Well, we didn't know you could be a hand either, so...
This is fair. I have... Well, I am not immaterial. And my form must go somewhere.
True. Be a really big moth.
That might attract attention, Lorna.
That's true. Yeah, the whole point is to... You're right. All right, I'll think about this a little bit more than just throwing out shit as I think of it.
I suppose I could take the form of a garment.
That is an interesting thought. You'd be see-through, so you wouldn't be a very good dress.
I did not intend to replace your clothes. I was thinking when we were in town you saw individuals wearing scarves, hats.
That's true. That's true.
Sashes, those sorts of things.
That's a good idea. We'll try that the next time we go out.
Very well, Lorna.
And the next time I have a hand. You're good as a hand right now.
This does feel odd, but it is not uncomfortable.
I'm gonna give my own hand a pat.
Your fingers kind of pass through it a little, but the eyes blink as you do so.
I love him.
Tabernacle finishes filling out your request. It takes about an hour, actually, to get all the paperwork sorted out as he goes back and forth through the book and the catalog and getting the parcel prepared. And he says, "Right. Before anything else, you should head down to the post and parcel and get this sent off to Kraber's."
Oh, I'm familiar with them.
Are you?
I'm from Saris.
Oh. I suppose that makes sense, yes. Typically, they do all of our requisitions here for the Merigard. We have a good relationship. If they see an order coming from us, they generally jump it to the front of the line.
Right. They might prioritize it for the sake of a good relationship. That sounds perfect. Thank you. I'll do that right now.
And
well, do you need me to do anything before I go?
We will handle your lesson when you return.
Understood.
And he hands you a small... It's an envelope that you know has your gold in it. And it says it's labeled to Kraber's Manufacturing. Port Sanctuary, blah, blah, blah.
Blah.
Yeah. And he basically begins to climb the stairs back to deal with the other students.
Yeah, I'll go to the post office.
As you head toward the post and parcel, I need you to roll me a D8.
Right. D8. 1.
1. There is no encounter.
Woohoo!
As you make your way to the post and parcel. The Post and Parcel is a handsome, small little building. I don't believe you've been there yet.
Not Lorna.
It is made of lacquered and painted white wood. And as you enter, it's not very busy at this time of day. The wide counters show outgoing and receiving, and beyond them are many people that work at the Post and Parcel. As it's slow in the morning, they're having general conversation, eating snacks, drinking clava, just enjoying the morning. And as you enter, one of them kind of good-naturedly looks at you and says, "Hey, good morning. How can I help you?"
Deliver a letter somewhere.
All right. Where's it headed?
Saris.
Across the ocean. All right. Have you 5 silver for travel fees?
I'm sure I do. And she will pull out 5 silver.
All right. And let me see the parcel.
So, now that he's asked that, she's going to think to Requiem, okay, I'm going to stick my wrist in my bag, and I want you to grab the letter. Can you do that?
I will try.
She's going to stick her hand in and see if his ghost fingers will close on it. See if this hand is just for show or not.
It's a little unstable. It's a little shaky.
Uh-huh.
But he does manage to close the fingers around the parcel.
I'm picturing that thing where you squeeze the handle and it's like the claw at the end.
Basically, yeah.
And then she's going to pull it out and very carefully hand it over.
Okay. As
Which
you're
I'm
holding
sure
it out,
looks really weird.
the postman grasps the letter and then tries to tug it out.
Let go, Rec.
I am trying.
Give me 1 second. This is new.
And there's a quick moment. Hold on. The hand opens like completely like wide open, and the postman takes the envelope and says, "Right, all right. Well, thank you. It's 5 silver." As he looks at the parcel and he says, "Mel from Tabernacle. All right. That's.
Huh?
You don't have to worry about the cost." And he begins like making some small markings on the letter, and he says, "All right, 1 across the ocean, transcontinental to Saris." Okay. What's her name?
Lorna.
Anything else to that?
Alouette.
Lorna Halloweth. All right. When you hear a bugle in your mind, and you don't know where it's from, it's because you've received a response. So come down here and come get it. If you don't arrive within a day, we will send a runner after you.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
Hmm?
She's going to think to Rec. Put a thumb up.
The hand slowly raises a thumb.
She's going to show it to the postman.
That's a strange trick.
Yep.
All right. Well, thank you for using the Post and Parcel. I hope you have a pleasant day. And you see he turns around and he brings the parcel over to a massive bird. That he like hands it to the bird, and the bird takes it in its claw and he ties it around the ankle of the bird, and you see this albatross just flies up and out of the roof.
Weird. Okay. Maybe you could be that kind of bird someday, Rec.
That would be easy as long as it was black.
Sure, I'm not really particular on the colors. It's more the function I care about.
I cannot change my color.
You look good black, buddy.
I suppose it is more a lack of color.
She'll just nod.
And then as you're still standing there, the postman says, "I'm sorry, was there something else I could help you with?"
Nope, I'm just talking to myself. And she'll just turn around and walk away.
As you're leaving, your passive perception does pick up, "What a strange girl," as you're heading out the door.
It's been a weird week for Lorna. She's gradually getting weirder.
It's true. As you are heading toward the Merryguard Academy, you hear in your mind, "What an interesting way to monetize Animal Messenger. I wish I'd have thought of something like that. That would have saved a lot of trouble."
Really? You think it would have changed the course of history?
Yes.
What? Do tell.
Well, if you recall, I was part of the war.
Yes, I do
And
recall.
should messengers have been so reliable, a lot of things wouldn't have happened that did.
You're talking about things that happened to you specifically or in the war in general?
I can only speak as to those that happened to me.
Right.
But there were a lot of messages we didn't get, or messages that I wasn't able to send because, well, we didn't have a druid.
To be fair, I think for the good of everyone, maybe your side not having a more efficient message system is probably for the best.
I was on both sides, Lorna.
What? This is news to me.
No, it isn't. You just haven't put these pieces together.
But you have?
Yes, I have.
I thought we were kind of the understanding that when you remembered things, you would tell me
I
about
haven't
them.
remembered anything.
Squint.
As you're walking back to the Merrygold Academy, you're just suspicious looking.
Yeah.
Um,
What do you mean? I know you worked with Toloi.
I did for a period of time when I was Nolana.
Yes.
But there was times before that where I did not work with Mr. Toloi. You recall I was part of the Wizard Circle.
Yes, and Tabernac got you expelled.
Mm-hmm. I recall that vividly.
He was concerned about your research.
Research that would have benefited the Ceresian military. I don't remember the specifics, but I remember the emotions behind it. I remember being frustrated that they couldn't see the truth.
Did they give you a chance to explain yourself, or was it just like, you're out?
They gave me a chance to explain myself, but they saw through jaded lenses.
Sure. Well, I think they all had an opinion about necromancy.
Which is understandable. It is still
Right.
frustrating to think back upon. What better weapon to use against necromancers than their own medicine? The key here... Listen, the key here is that undead are controlled by the willpower of the caster. They have no mind of their own. So, how effective is an army if you can't control it yourself?
Not effective?
Now, tenfold that. And if that army were to suddenly turn on you, on your own forces.
I see what you're saying. I see the logic in it, I really do, but I can also see the other side in which they wouldn't want to... Stoop isn't the right word. They couldn't accept that method.
I think that's foolish.
I don't know if I agree or disagree.
I think that any weapon is a weapon, and what matters is who is using it.
And for what purpose?
Correct.
You wanted to stop them.
I wanted to use their own forces against them. And it wouldn't have been that difficult.
Is that why you were apprenticed to the puppet master?
That's a long story, and I don't remember most of it, so I can't help you.
Okay.
I remember there being feelings of revenge, but I can't remember as to who.
I would assume it was him.
I have to assume.
Ellie,
Yes, Lorna.
do you remember we both had a vision and there was a man in it? I think you were really upset about him dying. Do you remember that?
No.
There was the Mythalar. And you said you said that you had to keep seeing him die and you didn't like that.
I believe you, but I don't remember what you were talking of.
I'm just trying to figure out who that person was. Because you remembered your friend. So if this person was important to you, maybe you'd remember them too. I guess we'll just have to keep digging.
I never got very close to the Mythalar but once. I remember it being immensely powerful, terrifyingly dangerous, and excitingly promising.
Was that the Nightingale's rebirth?
I don't know.
I feel like every time I find an answer, I create 10 more questions in that place. So.
What do we know of Nightingale's rebirth?
Tabernac said it was an event in history? Hold on. I know I wrote it down somewhere. She's gonna flip through her notes while I flip through my own.
Okay. As you're, like, walking on the street, you stop and lean against a building.
Rebirth. Burst of energy at the hands of the followers of the star. Nightingale's rebirth cashed through a Mythalar. The Mythalar was destroyed by Zolda Belmore. This was in 5796.
5796. There was a casting of something powerful enough to create a magical scar, so it would be recorded as a mist from the Mythalar. Something referred to as Nightingale's rebirth. You've heard the word Nightingale before, and you said...
I heard it from you.
When did I say it?
I asked if you kept everything in your journal, and you said everything but the Nightingale.
Oh, my memory is becoming fractured. All right. Well, okay. There was another thing you asked me about. It was a word. I don't remember what the word was. Do you remember?
Fuck me. I don't... Give me more context.
You asked me what it was, and I didn't know. But it tasted familiar, as if I'd said it before, or it was something important. And it was
Wasn't Sacrarium, was it?
It was Sacrarium. Yes, it was
okay,
Sacrarium.
Okay. The whole reason you got into that deal with Hushan.
For 400 souls.
Yeah.
400 souls locked away in my Sacrarium, to be drawn upon in the future. 400 souls that could be used one at a time as needed. I remember something.
Yeah?
There is a long pause. I need you to roll me a wisdom saving throw.
Oh boy. Part of me wants to choose to fail it.
You could.
I think she's actively encouraging Lily to remember, and she wants the answer herself. If she feels like Lily's doing something,
You let it happen?
she'll go with the flow.
So you choose to fail the wisdom save.
I do.
As you stand in the street, suddenly your vision is overtaken.
Oh boy.
You feel the wall at your back of the building that you were leaning against. But your vision is different. You stand atop a grassy knoll, looking over a field. There is a town ahead of you. It's dusk, the lights of the town illuminating the nearby foothills, and it's pretty. The town is quiet, settling in for the evening. A few carts move about the streets, the people doing the last bit of work. You look to your right. You see a man standing beside you. He is dark. The outline of him is red against the sunlit sky. You see that his face is that of a fox's.
Uh-huh.
Red eyes.
Yeah.
Short ears. As you look toward him, he says, "The 400th soul has entered the town. You are ready, yes?" And before you can say anything, you hear yourself say, "We do as we must. So it begins." The Foxman nods. And as he snaps his fingers, a pole falls out of the sky, landing in the middle of the town, upon which a dome closes around the circumference of the city. There's no going back. You know this. And then the Foxman looks at you and says, "Any final words, Adora?" You hear yourself say, "This is a necessity." The entire dome surrounding the city suddenly fills with black smoke. The screams of people from within can barely be heard through the muffling of the magical barrier surrounding the city. As if through a funnel, the channel of energy coming out of the top of the dome is green light, darting up and away. You feel grief. You feel pain. You feel worry and guilt. But you also feel anticipation. A hint of excitement. As though this is the beginning of something remarkable. And the vision ends. And you find yourself standing in Ferrum, looking out at the street, being shaken by a guard.
Oh.
The guard looks at you and says, Miss, are you alright?
Sorry.
You just suddenly, your eyes rolled into the back of your head, and I was worried you might be having a fit of some kind.
I'm so sorry. I get dizzy spells. I'm okay now.
I see you're a student. Do you need help back to the castle?
I don't think so. I think I'm okay. Thank you.
Are you sure?
She's gonna take a few steps to see if she is okay, because she's not 100% sure.
You're a little dizzy and shaken, but it's not from unwell. It's from the wave of emotions you've just felt.
I'm okay, sir. I promise.
All right. You take care of yourself now. And the guard kind of takes a couple steps back and looks at you warily, and then continues on his way.
And she's gonna think to Lily, Adora.
There is no response.
Lily? Hello?
There's no response.
No. You can't leave me alone like this. Fuck. She's gonna hurry back to the school.
Okay, you run back to the Marigard Academy. I assume you're going straight back to Tabernacle's classroom?
Yeah.
Okay. As you re-enter, Tabernacle is in the middle of talking to Callie and Halliwell about various planes and magical effects. And as you re-enter, he looks at you and says, "All's well at the Post and Parcel, I assume."
Pretty standard fare, sir.
How does Lorna look at this moment?
I think she looks very distracted.
Are you trying to hide it?
I think she would.
Roll me a deception.
She's training in deception, so expertise even. Yeah, baby. That might even fool a dragon.
It might. Very good. We'll have a seat as we will begin today's lesson in proper, now that you have returned.
Mm-hmm.
How well do you pay attention today?
I think she spends the first hour trying to contact Lily.
There is no response.
Mm-hmm. I think at some point she would reach out to Requiem and say, Requiem,
Yes,
you can look at my soul, right?
of course.
What does it look like right now?
One stands tall, healthy. The other is diminished.
More so than usual.
Yes, as if they are injured or sleeping.
Has it looked like that before, to your memory?
When I first found you,
Yes. Thank you.
how can I help, Lorna?
I know it's silly to say, but I'm worried about her.
The other.
Yeah.
I am sorry.
Yeah. Maybe she just needs some time.
Perhaps. And Requiem doesn't sound like he truly believes it, but he's trying to be comforting.
Yeah, I think her thoughts are pretty bent on that shit for the rest of the lesson.
Okay. Then roll me an intelligence check at disadvantage.
12. Pretty mediocre.
Yeah. You're not paying attention. And after a couple hours of it, Tabernac, is looming over you, and it takes you a long time to notice. And Tabernac says, Lorna, you are doing me no service by wasting my time.
Sorry, Tabernac. My, a lot's happened in the past couple of days, and I'm finding myself a little distracted.
Why don't you take the rest of the day off and go sleep?
Okay. Sorry.
There is nothing to apologize for. The truth is what it is, and we deal with the reality of things one at a time.
Right.
Off you go.
She'll get up. I'll glumly trudge out of the room.
Okay. Where do you go?
I think she's gonna try to find Tier.
Okay. It's like 11 in the morning. So
Back.
it is
She'll
likely
go to the
that
ranger.
Tier
She'll
is...
go to the ranger classroom.
Okay. You head to the ranger classroom. Hold on. I didn't expect that.
Curveball. I didn't expect you to take away my emotional support second personality.
You're right. How dare I?
Yeah.
Hold on a minute.
Like, I don't have any of this prepared.
I didn't, but that's okay. It just takes me a brief moment to pull it up.
I'm gonna try out my tracking.
Are you?
We'll see if I can't find him.
All right. I don't even know if I have the ranger instructor set up on your...
This wizard student's never gonna need to go to the ranger classroom.
I didn't expect it, no.
Foolishly.
Yeah. What was I thinking? Okay, this will just be a quick second.
No worries.
I just have to import her real quick. All right. That's a good thing I'm so organized for all this. This would be way harder. Okay. As you... Well, first things first. You don't know where the Ranger Sanctuary is.
Rude.
So, as you enter the main hall and Persh is sitting at his desk, he kind of glances up and he says, "Morning."
Persh, Ranger classroom.
To my left, 4 doors down.
She gives him a cursory nod.
Okay. You head down that way and you arrive at the Ranger Sanctuary. As you enter, you see there is a half-orc woman who's leaning against a stump, and she is currently whittling at the limb of a bow. And she looks up at you as you enter. You stepped out into a forest.
Yeah, that makes sense.
She looks at you and she says, "Hey,
Hello.
can I help you?"
Sort of. Is Tiara that otherwise occupied?
She kind of vaguely gestures to the forest.
Yeah. This may sound weird, but I really need to talk to him.
Okay. Is it an emergency?
I mean, the town's not on fire, but I like to think it's important.
All right. Is it his family's dead or something like that?
No.
Then you're gonna have to wait till the end of class.
I can't go find him.
Yeah, I can.
No, I said I wasn't gonna make you do it.
Absolutely not.
Oh.
There are cloud giants out here.
Oh. You just make him go out there then?
That's what he's training for.
Can you pause the recording for just a second?
So, you stand in the Ranger Sanctuary. Triss looking at you like, "I'm sorry, it's too dangerous out here."
That's fair. Can you tell him, when you see him next, that Lorna is looking for him?
She looks up at the suns and says, "It'll be a couple hours, but yeah, I'll tell him."
I appreciate that. He can find me in my room.
I'm sure he knows where that is.
Squints. And she'll just give her a polite nod and turn back around and go back to her room.
Okay. As you head back to your room.
Every other classroom lets me run around.
Do they?
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe, I don't know.
Maybe. All right. You are in your room.
Uh-huh. Since this has worked before, she's gonna get out Lily's journal and read through it, mostly as a way of trying to connect with her and see if anything new jumps out at her as she passes the time.
Roll investigation.
That's pretty good. 24.
As you are trying to reach out to Lily, to the other, I'd like you to roll me a charisma check.
14.
Okay. Are you ready?
Yep. Let's Eerie way to put it. Why are you rubbing your face like that? It's unrelated to what's happening, right?
As you read through the journal, you mentally reach toward the other, hoping that they come back, hopefully that you hear her voice again. And as you're reading through the journal, the words begin to blur together. The black ink seems to expand until your vision goes dark. And then you are opening your eyes. You are in a dark room. It is not your bedroom. You are in a dark room and there is someone in the bed next to you.
Uh-huh.
It's an elven man. Dark black hair. Long, pulled into a ponytail. He's laying flat on his back. His hands clasped over his chest. You look around because something doesn't feel right. There's a smell in the room that you don't recognize, or rather you don't want to recognize. But there is a creeping thought in the back of your mind. It's the smell of blood. You sit up.
Okay.
You're wearing a nightgown and nothing else. There's nothing on your feet. There is a cold breeze coming into the room. You look to your right to nudge the other awake. They're cold to the touch.
Uh-huh.
You rub your eyes and look closer. The blanket is pinned to them. You realize the blanket won't move because there is a knife thrust through the blanket up into the man's ribcage. He's dead. He's dead, but not unmoving. The hands are clasped around the haft of the knife. And before you can get out of the bed fast enough, the man surges up, looking at you with misty, unliving eyes. There is no words that come out of the mouth, but it surges toward you. You leap out of the bed, your feet scrabbling on broken glass. You immediately feel the pain of hundreds of small cuts going into the skin of your feet. As you run out of the room, you run down the hall. Most of the doors are shut. You know them as you run by. The larder, the kitchen, the den. The den is open. That's not right. You know you need to get to the front of the house, to get your shoes, to get your wand, to get anything to defend yourself. You hear the rumbling of the door being slammed open by the individual you remember as a lover. Now dead, now chasing you. You get to the front door. You get your hands on your robe. You get your hands into the pocket of your robe. You clasp the ebony blasting rod that is your arcane focus. You whip around. You begin the incantations. But you are too slow. You remember the night you died. As your lover, Undead White, rushes up to you and twists your head from its shoulders. You are stirred awake by the shaking, the violent shaking of someone's hands on your shoulders. And when you slowly open your eyes, the disorientation and the pain of feeling your neck be torn apart is washed away. You are looking in Tier's face.
Fuck.
Lorna, what happened?
What? Something happened?
You're here. What happened? What happened? You were screaming.
Oh, fuck. Sorry, I had a bad dream.
That wasn't just a bad dream. And Tier is like, it's clear that his eyes are wide with worry, and he's right in front of you. Your nails are bloody.
Like my nail on the one hand, I'm assuming.
Yes.
From digging into my palms?
No. You feel pain around the base of your neck, where you were clawing at something.
Fuck.
What happened to you?
I'm not 100% sure yet.
You suddenly hear it in the back of your head. I'm sorry, I remember that.
I'm sorry that happened to you. Just, she's relieved more than anything when she hears Lily's voice again.
That's all she says. She doesn't say anything else.
Yeah, she understands that she's probably not going to get a full conversation out of her, but she's heard her voice, and that's something. So her eyes focus back on Tier. And she looks probably surprisingly unperturbed, or rather not as concerned as he probably thinks she should be about what just happened.
You have dealt yourself, through the temporary hit points,
Ouch.
4 points of piercing damage.
So do I still have the temp, or did it cut through those and take?
The temp's gone.
Okay.
Your chest and neck are a mess of blood. You don't know how long you were digging at your neck. It's as though you were trying to tear away undead hands that were not there.
She's gonna look at Tier and be like, "Can you help me with this?"
Right, yes, of course. Fuck. And he presses his hands against where you've injured yourself, and with his other hand he pulls out an herb and he rubs it against the wound, and he casts Cure Wounds on you. You heal for 6.
That's up to full.
He rolled a 2. 2 plus 4.
So after he heals it, what's left?
There's no scars because they were just scratches, but there was a lot of them. So all that's left is just the matting of fresh and dry blood, because you've been doing it for a while.
Great. Fuck. She's gonna reach up with her hand, the bad one, without really even realizing it, to put on his hand, like, reflexively as, like, a thanks.
Let me roll something as the Requiem hand. Okay, he rolled a natural 20. You see he managed to keep his cool as suddenly your missing hand sets, like, the wrist on his arm, and the Requiem's ghost hand clasps on his. And you see Tier just... Lorna, what the nine hells happened to you?
I'm sorry.
What happened? No, don't be sorry. What happened?
That's kind of what I wanted to talk to you about when I came to your classroom, but you weren't available, so...
I was tracking some cloud giants. Let me tell you, it wasn't fun. What the fuck happened to you? You're missing a hand! Unless this is new? And he, like, pokes at Requiem and his finger passes through him a bit. And you hear Requiem in your mind say, "That feels funny."
No, that's Requiem. He's substituting. You can turn back into a dog, buddy.
And he does. He just emerges, and the stump of your wrist is wrapped in bandage, visible to see, and Tier looks distressed. You were whole the day before yesterday.
Yeah.
Now you're clawing at your own neck and you're missing a hand. Why didn't you come get me?
I did. You just weren't there.
Sooner than this! And he, like, tilts his head back and rubs at his face.
There wasn't really
I
much
can't help you if I'm not there!
There wasn't anything that could be done about my hand.
Why?
It was a punishment.
You see he puts 2 and 2 together quickly. That bitch.
It is what it is, isn't it?
I've known captains like her. I've known the type. They were always mutinied.
What you had the right strength, right? You were ready to mutiny them. You mutinied.
You see he has clenched his teeth. And he sits back on the bed and he says, "She'll pay for this.
Maybe
not.
someday.
Maybe not now. But I will see her pay for this."
On the bright side, I'm getting a really cool replacement.
That is a bright side. This is my fault, isn't it?
No.
I convinced you to shake that tail. To go into Folly's room so they couldn't follow.
You just gave me the option. I made that choice. I know what she's like, and you don't, and that was my choice.
He swallows. And he says, "I'm sorry."
You don't need to be. I don't want you to be.
Well, I am anyway. God, fuck her.
She went back to where she came from, so.
Good fucking riddance.
Well, that's that's actually not entirely what I wanted to talk to you about.
Well, alright. You see he kind of gains his composure. He takes a deep breath and says, "Alright, if it's not your hand, if it's something worse than that, what is it?"
Perspective on what is and is not worse. I was really worried because, you know, how I can communicate with my past life, I suppose.
You did mention something like that, right?
I suddenly couldn't, and it worried me.
Why?
That's what I want to know.
So wait, is she your past life? Are you friends now? Are they working on the same side, I guess?
No, I don't know.
Wasn't your past life responsible for like a deal with the devil and all these people being dead and it being horrible and all that?
Nobody's perfect.
I'm confused.
Me too.
Okay.
When I realized I couldn't hear her anymore, I was more affected than I thought I would be, and you're wise. I thought maybe you could help me shed some light on that nonsense.
What's the deal with this then? And he points at the nail marks.
Sort of related. I had another memory, and it was a bad one.
A bad one. All right. Bad enough that you clawed at your own neck.
I thought I was being murdered, so I was being murdered, but it happened a long time ago, so I've gotten better, of course.
You saw a memory of your past life being murdered. And it felt like it was happening to you?
Yeah. Because it was me at some point.
But then how are you here now?
What do you mean?
If you were murdered in... Okay, I don't understand.
The simplest form I can explain this in is that every time, just before she's died, she's had a way of getting a new body, basically, and starting over.
And this is the same?
Are you talking about me?
I don't know. I have no idea. Honestly, that's the worst question.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure what happened with me, except that something happened that was different, which is why we seem to be separate people, but we really aren't.
Okay.
Because all of the past versions of myself, every time she's died and come back, they've had like a perfect memory sync. There's never been a split in personality, right?
Right. Okay.
Except for when I was bored.
Okay.
And she doesn't remember what happened, and I don't know why either, so we're both kind of trying to figure that out.
All right. What I need to know is, are you in trouble?
Right in this exact moment? Nope.
Okay.
But in general, oh yeah, like by a lot. Do
With who?
you want a list?
A short one, if there is one. Like, give me the
Well,
top 3 situations that you're in
okay.
trouble about.
Okay. So I've decided to be honest with you.
Thank fuck for that.
You're pretty much the only one who knows anything really about me.
Oh,
So
Lorna,
either
this is
feel
so
honored
above
or
my...
cursed. Yeah, honored or cursed. You can choose. But I'm just gonna tell you. So there's that woman who cut off my hand.
Right. Yep.
That's a continuing problem. I owe her a lot, and she will continue to collect on that debt
Until we kill her.
until she dies.
Until I kill her.
You don't. This is not your problem.
She cut your hand off because you were fooling around with me. It's exactly my problem.
It was not a very good excuse in her eyes.
I don't care.
In fact, she didn't even ask, so.
So she just cut your hand off because you shook a tail.
Yes.
That's even worse.
Okay, so that's number one.
Mm-hmm.
Number two is that devil,
Okay.
which you're privy to.
I'm familiar with him, yeah.
And the other one, it has been the least currently troublesome, but I don't know. It's my dad.
But you don't have a dad because you weren't...
I do. You're right, I don't have a biological dad because I wasn't born. But my past life, my most recent one, was married.
All right.
And when she died, I was born. Her husband raised me
Uh-huh.
with this expectation that I would gain my memories back and be his wife again.
All right. Okay. That makes... Okay. Gross.
Uh-huh.
Super gross.
I didn't know until recently, which is why I left and came to the Marigard.
Okay. So we have a man we have to kill, a woman we have to kill, and a devil we have to appease.
Or kill.
Good luck with that. I don't know how to kill a devil.
I feel like the devil and this woman are really... There's something supernatural about her. She's not just any person to be fucked with, obviously.
That's how she keeps power over you. Same as old captains I've had. They like to make them seem almost godlike, is what they'd attempt to do. They'd like to hide their magic and abilities behind smoke and mirrors, as it were, to seem way more powerful than they actually were. And once you see through all those illusions, they're just a person. And a person can die. I'm not going to make a move. At least not until we've gotten a bit stronger. But I want you to know, she's on my shit list.
That's a very dangerous place to be.
You have no idea how dangerous it is to be on my shit list.
Insight check.
Roll it.
Pretty good.
Despite Tierre's natural, almost sarcastic, bullshitty humor, he seems dead serious.
Right, I mean not to get on your shit list.
Don't get on my shit list. It's hard to do, but once you're there, there's no getting
You're,
out.
you're stuck. Got it. I definitely think pretty much all of these problems are things that I just can't handle right now. So I've just been trying to live my life, and I still end up fucking it up.
Well, I will say, this has been the most worrisome I've ever found someone sleeping. I've never seen anybody clawing their own neck. I'm glad it was just a nightmare, or at least a memory.
Mm-hmm.
I slightly worry if I hadn't come in when I did, you might have been going at it until you were not here anymore. So, I'm going to politely ask you not to kill yourself in your sleep.
I'll do my best.
Thank you.
I'll give Requiem specific instructions that if he sees me going crazy, he should wake me up.
Good idea. The other thing, the one that you were worried about being gone?
Yeah.
Is she still gone?
After I woke up, when you woke me up, she said something. So, I don't know. I don't know how close to the surface she is, or how much she's going to stay there, but at least I didn't lose her.
Is it such a bad thing if you lose her?
I mean, a realistic, smart person would say, no, good riddance, but I don't know. There's something...
Here's the more important question, alright? Why?
Why?
Why? Why do you want to hold on to her?
I think...
She's this evil necromancer.
I don't think she is.
Okay.
I think it's more nuanced than that. I think she's done bad things. I think she's done good things too. I don't know if it's enough to make up for what she's done that's bad, but what I do know is that I know I said that I can talk to you and I've told you pretty much everything, but listening to me and being there for me is one thing, but understanding is not something that I think I'll ever find anywhere else.
Then your past life was in your head.
Who else would get the feeling?
Alright, well, I thought, okay, so I want you to understand this is basically a complete 180 flip from the last time we talked about this person, you know? Because last you told me she was this sadistic necromancer who killed people for her own purposes.
That's what I thought.
And now you don't think that.
Now I know it's more complicated than that.
Okay, then that raises the question, do we look for a way to get her out of you?
Last time I had this conversation with her, she told me pretty much in no uncertain terms she wanted to die. Be done with it all, but I don't want her to leave me, so it's kind of my selfishness that's keeping her beholden to me.
I see.
She's tired.
But you need her.
Want or need, I don't know the difference.
You should figure that out for yourself before you condemn a person to servitude, if you know what I mean.
You think it's really like that?
I don't know. I have no idea.
I guess that's true.
From my perspective, it kind of sounds like that, but I can't speak for someone who's in your head. Because maybe if all they see is what you show them, the only way they live now is through you.
And her memories.
Which seem not to be great.
TR, what I've learned is that there's approximately 800 years that she's forgotten.
800 years?
Yeah.
Fuck.
I look great for my age, though, don't I?
Yeah, you look fantastic.
Except for, like, the missing hand and the bloody chest and the dark circles under my eyes. Yeah. Oh, and the scar on my face.
I think you need some sleep.
I thought I was getting somewhere when I left my dad. Like, I'd be safer.
Well, I think you are. I think now that you're not with your ex-husband... Ugh.
Oh, weird. Yeah, I know. God, what the fuck was he thinking?
Now that you're not with him, and you're able to see these things for what they are, you're dealing with them as best your mind can. And there's going to be a lot of turmoil, obviously. You're dealing with the memories of someone who's seen a lot of life, and it sounds like a lot of it was very dark. How can your mind even comprehend that? What if you're only seeing little bits and pieces because that's all your subconscious will allow you to see for fear of you breaking?
She actually said that. She said, what she experienced broke her, and she hopes it doesn't break me too.
Maybe she does care about you then.
I think she does.
It's a little heartbreaking if you think about it.
Yeah. That's why I don't want her to go away.
Alright. I don't know how I can help you. I can bring you food. I can bring you drink. But I think right now, what you need is to fucking rest.
What time is it?
It's like 6 in the evening. I got here as soon as I got back to the forest.
Thanks for coming.
My instructor said you looked pretty fucked up, so I hurried.
Great.
Yeah, I learned how to see through people's false shit from her.
I used to be very charming.
You still are. You just gotta sleep enough that those bags go away and that scar heals up nice and clean and you'll be right.
And that this hand grows back, right?
No, there's not much you can do about that.
I'm getting a prosthetic, so it's fine. Yeah.
That'll be an all new air of mystery to you.
Maybe I'll get a hook so I can embrace your pirate background.
No. There's things I want to do with that hand and hooks are not up for it.
I like your optimism.
I'm unbridled, as it were. Now, I'm gonna bring you some dinner, and you're going to sleep. And I'm not taking any argument.
Well, this isn't really an argument, more like an extension of your kind service.
Mm-hmm.
When I go to sleep, can you stay here?
Yeah. I can do that.
Next to me?
I can do my best to keep my hands to myself.
I have faith in your strong will.
To be honest, I don't want to disturb your rest.
There's a good person in there.
Yeah, he's just buried underneath a lot of ale.
Okay, I'll wait here.
And Tyr gets up. He looks back at you one more time and he says, "You're not gonna claw yourself to death while I'm out, will you?"
Not on purpose.
I'll have to take that. And he leaves. You see
Lily?
Requiem is staring at you. You reach out to Lily, and you hear a very tired, very wavering, "Yes."
You're not gonna leave, are you?
I have no control.
I don't want you
anything. I just want to rest.
Okay, but you can do it here.
My life carried so much pain, and I don't want all of it to fall on you. You don't deserve it. If I had known, the scars of my memories would taint another life, another soul, to such a depth as my own, I would never have made this godforsaken spell.
Don't leave me.
You hear a deep breath and nothing else.
Mm-hmm.
As Tyr tends to you, brings you dinner from the mess hall, which he then says, I hope they won't be mad at me for taking away the plate, but, you know, it is what it is. The meal is very good. It is this exotic dish that you recognize from one of the fancy parties you've been to as a Silitulcan delicacy of a various sort of fungus and vegetable platter that is extremely savory and sweet. And you gain 9 temporary hit points from it.
Oh, hell yeah.
And they rolled,
Well,
I rolled
those
really
right
well.
out of me.
Yep. Tier kind of tries to rub your shoulders to help you relax. He tries to put you to bed. He kicks his own feet up on the other bed that's like next to it and reads a book. Unfortunately, the beds are singles, so there's not really room for him to be in the same bed as you, but...
Echo, you remember. It's entirely possible.
Okay. You can try and convince him.
If she would insist upon it.
Roll a persuasion.
Yeah. I look very like a sad puppy.
Tier finally says, all right, fuck, you can't look at me like that.
I can.
He does acquiesce. And you get some rest. With Tier's aid, roll me a wisdom saving throw at advantage.
Terrible. A 2 and a 4. She's really shaken.
Yeah. You have a rough night.
Mm-hmm.
Every time you awaken, though, Tier is there. You gain an exhaustion point, but you heal. It is a tormented night of sleep. And when you awaken, Tier, the next day when you awaken, Tier doesn't let you get up. He goes and he tells Tabernac that you need another day.
That's really nice of him.
That is where we are going to stop tonight's session.
He's a good guy after all.
Yes, Tier is a good guy after all.
I weep.
Thank you for joining me for tonight's session. I hope you had a good time.
Warner's gonna have a good day eventually. It's just who knows when.
Yeah, it's not this day.
Fuck.
Everybody listening, I hope you had a good time, and I will see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.